Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn about how to perform descriptive analytics, and the dataset will be based on HRM, and it is relevant for all different professionals from different functions or departments, because I will be showing you all those techniques which every dataset has, and the Excel users find their solutions on different platforms. So let's get started how to do descriptive analytics based on a data set, and I will be going through each and every step. This video will be a bit long, so you have to focus very carefully all the concepts which I will be telling you. I will tell you the limitations of the functions, then I will also be giving you the solutions to manipulate the data in such a way that we can find the answers of our questions, and also will show you if you have Excel 365 version, so how it easy to do in that specific data here. And this data consists of 5 columns: employee number, employee name, the function or department that person belongs to, date of birth, and date of admission. Okay, now we need to do the descriptive analytics, and we have given the questions, let's say from a manager, and he wants to find out these things from the data. So as a data analyst or as a business analyst, our key role is to do the descriptive analytics on this particular data set. So the first question is that get the 10 eldest members based on old admissions date column. Okay, so we need to extract 10 eldest members, then 10 youngest members based on date of admission, that will be technically new admissions, then 10 eldest members based on date of birth, then again 10 youngest members based on date of birth, and then we have to find what are those who are those employees which has a birthday in this month. So I am recording this video in the month of January 2024, and I will tell you the logic how to find them, and also to see the anniversary of all those employees in this month as well, right? So these are 6 technical questions, or you can say descriptive analytics, we want to perform, and there will be a lot of techniques and tips and tricks in this video available regarding the functions and formatting as well. So let's get started. We will be extracting the data right here so that we can compare the data set selections, and you can see on one screen. So first we need to find the 10 dates, eldest dates based on the date of admission, and then the eldest members names. Okay, so you know that to find such kind of information, you apply reference functions, such as the most common is VLOOKUP. Gradually, if there are some limitations, you switch to index and match, or if you have Excel 365, you can use XLOOKUP as well, right? So what I will be doing is I will be keeping it to index and match so that you can understand, and index and match is available almost in all Excel versions above 2010. Okay, so let's get started. First we need to extract the dates, right? And we will see what are those limitations which we face during the analytics. So eldest dates means old dates, so we will be using a function called small. But before that, you remember that whenever we will be using functions and defining the function arguments, because the data set is long, we have to select the entire columns and then get back to that particular logic. I mean, that consumes a lot of time. And efforts, and technically when our logics gets longer, it will create a mess for us to understand. So the best practice is, before applying any logic here, let's select the entire data. Okay, and then we will go to the insert tab where we will click on table. So what we are doing is, technically we are converting our data into a structure format. Okay, make sure you check mark my table as headers, click OK, and now let's give a name to it. So on the table design tab, which is on right side, you will go there, and By default this table name is table1, so let's keep it simple. Let's write data for our understanding. You can define any customized name you want, but I prefer easier and I can remember for longer time. Okay, now after defining this data as a table, let's go to the dates column, and here we will be defining a logic equals to small array. Array will be from the data table. We have to select date of admission, and we want the 10 eldest dates, okay, from the data set. So I will not be writing 1, 2, 3 manually here. I will be creating a logic that will create numbers from 1 till 10. Okay, so I will be using the rows function. You can pick any cell from here, any cell, either it's empty or not empty, doesn't matter. The rows function will generate the number of rows defining in that array, and we will keep it as dynamic, means the first cell will be absolute and the second will be relative, so that when this formula will go downwards, this will expand the range and the numbers will get increased. So at this particular point of time, the rows function will generate 1. When it goes down, it will generate 2 automatically, because the range will get expanded. Okay, let's create enter, and it gives me that the 1st January 1972 is the oldest date. Okay, and I can just copy and paste here. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one more. Alright, so now when I copy and paste this formula, this logic, it gives me, I just drag and drop up to the 10 cells, because I want the 10 eldest member names, right? But what happens is that there are 2 admissions on the same date, that is 1st January 1978. Okay, there are 2 admissions on the same date, and that happens because so many members come on the same date for the admission. So definitely those will be 2 different names on the same date, right? So let's see how we're gonna achieve this, or if there isn't any limitation. So I will be using the index and match function. So equals to index. Now in the index, the array is the selection of a column where you want the output to be came. So we need basically members name, that is employee names, that is technically in the data table, and we need employee names, and then we will be using match function. What we need to match is definitely the location of the dates which we have extracted. So in this cell we have the case 17 as a lookup value. Lookup array will be the date of admission from the data column, and that is exact match we want. Okay, so we got the first name Hunter Lopez on the 1st January 1972. Let's copy and paste this, Control D. Now what happens is that if you see on the 1st January 1978 there were 2 admissions, but it's the limitation of with VLOOKUP, index and match, or the XLOOKUP is that it returns the same value. It cannot goes to the different occurrences based on this similar lookup value. That's the problem with these reference functions. Okay, and to minimize this particular issue, we need to create some helper columns and then to revise the formula. So I hope you understood that what happens and what is the issue here, that on the 1st January 1978 there were 2 admissions of 2 different names, but technically the index and match is just providing the output of first occurrence. It's not giving the second occurrence value or a third occurrence value. Okay, that happens with XLOOKUP and VLOOKUP as well. So we need to handle this issue. So if technically, if I talk about, this is the first name, then this is the second, third, right, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, this is the 8 because it's same, and this is the 9th. So what was the question? That we need the 10 eldest members based on old admissions, right? But we have technically, if you count these names, this is 10 names, but because one name is keep on repeating, so we can say that as an analytical point of view we have extracted the 9 names, right? And this is based on the simple index and match function. Now how to resolve this issue? So let's say now for all of those which do not have their Excel 365 version, so what I can do is, if you're using index and match or XLOOKUP in this particular kind of issue, and this issue is very common faced by not just by HRM professionals, but I mean if you're in a finance, sales, marketing or admin, these kind of duplication issues comes in, right? So for all those users who want to use index and match or XLOOKUP, you have to add one helper column. You can define this name as you like, the header, and what we will gonna say is we will create a logic in such a way that each date of admission will get its count, that how many times it has been came raw wise. Okay, so for that we need to use the COUNTIF function. So equals to COUNTIF. So this is from a starting point is E6, so the range would be dynamic, E6 colon E6 comma, the criteria will be same, E6, and the first cell here will be absolute, so press F4 to make it $sign. And let's, if you see this kind of issue, just select the column, press Ctrl 1 and select the type general. Okay, all right, so let's ignore these errors. So what technically COUNTIF is doing is, see, the first record is of the 3rd of January 1992. It's coming one time here at this occurrence, but when it's repeat, it gives 2 here because it's second time occurrence in these 3 rows, right? So similarly, what COUNTIF is doing is it's basically counting each individual value in each row and producing a count number that how many times it has been occurred, and it gives an increment of it. Okay, so this is the helper column which we need, and now this column has a duplicates, this column also has a duplicates. We need to make the helper column in such a way that it should work like a you can say primary key or based on unique values. So we will be joining our ampersand with this date of admission, which is again E6, and press the enter key. So we got a new column based on 2 logics, the COUNTIF and the concatenation of date of admission, right? Now with this particular logic we will be applying an index and match. Okay, so let's find the eldest members here now with the new logic. Okay, so equals to index, and what we need as an array, we need the member names or employee names from the data table. Match, what we need to match is we need to match this particular date but in a different style now. So we need to add the COUNTIF function, get this date which is in case 17 colon K17 comma K17. Okay, bracket close, join with this particular date, then lookup array will be the new column which we have added. So in the data table we have added the helper column, and that would be exact match. Make sure that you absolute this particular first cell. Alright, let's press the enter key, and now let's copy and paste Control D. So now as you can see that in the previous limitation the Jack LeBron was coming 2 times, but now we got the second person name on the similar date of admission on 1st January 70th, that is Jack O'Brien, right? So we got the 2 different names, doing some changes in the index and match strategy based on helper column in the data set as well. So this is how you resolve the multiple occurrences or different results based on same lookup value, as you saw here. And this is the most common issue which is faced by many different individuals in different functions on their data sets, right? So I have solved this first issue, and I hope you understood that how doing some different tweaks with your helper columns and logics can give the correct results. Now these are the 10 names, because I can write 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and the question was that we need 10 eldest members based on old admissions. So primarily with the first logic we got the 9 names, but now we have the 10 names, right? But let's say if I technically change a question in a different way, that we need the eldest members but based on 10 eldest dates, because previously our focus was 10 eldest members, no matter if the dates are being keep on repeating, that is count, but now we need 10 eldest dates. So we don't need the dates to be repeat, we need different dates. Okay, so for that let's create a bit of modification in the dates logic. So what we will be using is we will be using, and also let me tell you how we extracted the dates with the help of a function called small and rows, right? But we need to now get the 10 unique dates, 10 eldest dates. Okay, so for that we will be using the small with now if and frequency as well. So we will be using small if frequency, and we will add here from the data table date of admissions, comma, again from the data table date of admission. Okay, bracket close, not equals to 0, comma, again value if true, data table date of admission, bracket close, comma, then rows logic, rows from A1 to A1. Make sure that you keep the first cell absolute by pressing F4, and then close the bracket at the end. And we got the first January 72, which we got here as well. Let's copy and paste downwards. Now this time, if you can see the significant difference here in the dates, these are similar, but when we go to first January 78, 2 times coming here, but this is 1 time here, and it surpasses to the next eldest date. Okay, and we got our 1 more new date. Now we know that on the first January 78 we have 2 people, 2 different people, right? And it could happen in any of the date, there could be more than 2-3 people right here. So now for those of you who have Excel 365, we will be using the filter function, adding the text join for multiple outcomes. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Text join, let's add a delimiter which is comma space, ignore empty cells, so we will have true. Let's add a filter function. In the array we need to define what output we want, so we need from the data table employee name. Okay, now in the include we need to define the criteria. So in the data table select the date of admission column, which should be equal to this particular date, which is in P17, and close the bracket. So we got the similar result as we did with the index match and countif, but it is here it is different with text join and filter, right? And let's copy and paste, and you will see a significant difference as you compare to the previous solution. So let's press Ctrl D, and now you can see that on the 1st January 1978 we have 2 different names coming in one cell. So we can see, okay, there are 2 people got the admission on the same date, and then we have now other names as well. So I mean, if there is a little bit change in the analytical quotient, your entire logics will get definitely change here as well, right? So this is how we have completed the solution for the first question, that is to get the 10 eldest members based on date of admission. Okay, now let's proceed to the other questions. Alright, so now let's move to the next question. 10 youngest members based on new admissions. Alright, so youngest members, 10 youngest members based on date of admission. So now we will not be creating logic from the very scratch, but we can just copy the previous logic. Let's say for the dates, copy this logic and paste here, but we need to do certain changes, like because it's being telling us the youngest members based on new admissions. So instead of small, we will put large here. Okay, and press the enter key, and let's paste for 10 rows. So 16th October is the latest date, and we can verify it, and the 2nd October is the second highest. So we can verify going to the date of admission. Okay, and open this drop down menu, and you can see 2023 is the latest year, October is the latest month, and we have 16th the latest date, and then the 2nd October, right? So this means that the logic which we have applied is correct. Here, let me show you again. So what we are trying to fetch is that the top 10 dates based on the newest admissions, date of admissions. Now it could be happen that if any date could be repeat. Now again, if that repeats, I have already told you how to do certain changes with dates if you want. Otherwise you can go with the similar logic. Okay, so 10 youngest members, because the analytical point is that we just need 10 members. If the date is repeating, this means that on that particular date there are more than 2 members has got the admission, right? So now how to extract that information? It's simple, because dates are now unique, so we can apply the traditional approach of index and match directly. But remember that if the date gets duplicate, then again you need to take the help from this helper column, and you have to solve like in this way. Okay, all right, so what we're gonna do is we will be solving in both the ways so that you can understand in detail. So let's start the index and match in a simplest way. Index, what we want as a return, so we need the name of all those employee names, and raw number, so we will be adding match function. Let's locate the date, which is in K31. Lookup array will be from the data table date of admission column, and that would be exact match. And let's close the bracket, copy and paste, and we got all the 10 youngest members based on recent dates. Okay. Now if let's suppose the date is being repeating, we know that it will have a limitation of giving the same name, right, which we have saw above. So it better is to use the index and match in a different style. Okay, so let's add here second solution. So we will say index, what we required is the name of employees from the data table, and then we start with match count if. So we start counting if from this particular cell, which is K31 colon, again same cell and same criteria, that will generate our numbers, and we will join with this particular date. Make sure that the first cell will remain absolute. Then the lookup array for the match function is the helper column which we have defined in the data table. So that will be helper column, and then exact match 0. Close the bracket and press the enter key. Now you can see the both solutions of index match with differentiation of adding the helper columns is giving the same kind of results. So I hope you understood. If you face any kind of issue, I have already given you the alternate to it. Okay. Alright, so 10 youngest members based on new admission. Now 10 eldest members, again based on now date of birth. Now this time not on date of admissions but date of birth. So let's create this. So let me copy this, the dates, 10 eldest members. So again, I will not create a logic from the scratch, but I will copy the same thing, and I'm trying to making you learn that how to save your time and customize once you have understood it. So instead of date of admission, what we need to change here, that date of birth. Okay, and press the enter key, and we just need 10 records. Alright, so now you can see these are all different dates. Yes, but if it's a similar date, you know that the name would be technically repeat, and then you have to apply the different strategy, but in this case it's not there. Okay, alright, so let's apply index and match. Index, what we need is from the data table we need employee names based on the date, which is in K46. Lookup array will be data table date of birth this time, and for exact match 0. And let's copy and paste this, right? So all the different names are coming here. But remember, as I repeat again, that if the dates are similar and the names are keep on repeating, so I have already told that solution here in the situation 1, so you have to go to the alternate approach. Okay, taking the helper column, and this time there will be a new helper column because the existing helper column is based on date of admission, but when you find that issue, so you have to create another helper column for date of birth. Okay, and then use it. But if you have Excel 365, that will be easier for you. You don't need helper columns in the filter for the filter functions to get the names as well. So I mean, these are benefits for latest versions and the older versions limitations. Okay, so we got the 10 eldest members. Now the next question, which is question number 4, is 10 youngest members based on date of birth. Then we will be solving birthday in this month and anniversary in this month. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we will copy the logic here from the above scenario, paste here, and instead of small we need to convert it into large. Let's copy for 10 rows. Okay, and let's see if anything is being repeating here. Not here. So also let's copy the logic from the above scenario, copy and paste, and instead of K46 we have the date here K61, right? And let's copy and paste the logic, and we got the names as well. Okay, so 10 new members based on their date of births. Alright, so let's proceed further. I have also added the second solution. Why second solution? Because as I told you that if you fetch the dates, and if any date is keep on repeating multiple times, so you will face the similar name here. So to get rid of, what I have did is I have created another helper column for based on date of birth. Again the same logic which we have did for date of admission. So we have now 2 helper columns, and based on these helper columns we can use index and match in a different style. So as you can see here, so if in case you find the similar name on a similar date and you want to get rid of that issue, you have to use in this way. Okay, so I have added a second solution as well. Similarly for second alternate solution for 10 new members. Now let's proceed towards the question 5 and 6. We need to find the names for the people who have birthday in this month and the anniversary in this month. So I am recording this video in January 2024, and I need to locate that for those of people who have a date of birth in the month of January, they needs to be get filtered, right? Now I will make you understand the logic in a simplest way first by adding a helper column, and then we will be doing it in the function. Okay, so let's apply a logic. Let's write a name for BD for birthday, and we will be using the logical function, that is if, and in the logical test we will say that apply the text function, give us today date, and basically the today function returns the current date of which is set on our system. So we want today date, and we just need a month out of it. So we have nested with the text function. So to extract the month from the today date, that will technically give the January, JAN, right? And we are going to say that if it's equals to text, the value will be the date of birth cell, okay, which is D6. So D6, and also extract the month from this date. So if these both are equivalent, okay, so the first logic is producing January and the second logic is also producing a January. So these two things will match with each other, and the value if true will be populated. So we want yes in value of true and no in value of false. This is a simple logic which I have created. So in this particular column you can find either yes or no. Now where will be going yes, because if the date of birth pertains to the January. So if I filter, let's say if I open this filter menu and if I just select yes, this means that this column has been filtered by all those employees who have their birthday in the month of January, and we have 24 people, right? And what happens is with this particular logic is that, for example, if I proceed to the next month, that is February, so technically the results of yes and no will change automatically. Okay, so what will happen that today function will return the date for the month of February that will match with the in the date of birth column, and if February is equals to February, then it will say yes. So every month it will update automatically, this logic. All right, so so this was just to understand the logic, but we need to add in our analytics. So definitely. All right, let's proceed how we can extract all those employee names who have birthday in this month. So I have already told you the helper column logic. So we will solve it by two solutions. First with index and match, then we will try with filter. So with index, what we need is we need the employee names from the data table, and in the match, lookup value will be yes, and it will going to match from data table and from BD column birthday where we have created the logic, and for exact match 0. Close the bracket. So as you can see here, we have we got the first name, and let's copy and paste. Now what happens with index and match, that it's giving just the first name. Now as you can see the limitation here, what it's doing here is that it's just giving the first entry of yes. Limitation you need to understand with the either with even with the VLOOKUP or index and match, because it returns the first occurrence. Even if you use XLOOKUP, it will return the first occurrence, not the other names, right? So now what you need to do is, again, you need to add one helper column that will generate number with yes, and then you need to use the logics which I have already told you in 4 above scenarios. So that is creates more and more helper columns which will increase the size of your data, and I mean if you have the large data size, that will technically a problem for you. So going very traditionally and finding these kind of issues, let's apply, I hope you understood that issue. So let's apply the filter function, which is in Excel 365. What we want is from the data table employee names, and we need to filter all the records uh, from the data table BD column which are equivalent to yes, and let's close the bracket. So see, the filter function gives you all those different names, as previously we saw the limitation of index and match function. So this is technically a good improvement for all those users who have the latest version. I mean, that saves a lot of our time in doing some extra workings as well. And if you want the count, so what you can do is copy this and paste here, and just write the count a function here and close the bracket and change the format to general. So it says that there are 24 people who have a birthday in this month, and these are the names here, right? So easy. Let's move to the next scenario. uh, Anniversary in this month. So let's copy this text box, let's go somewhere here and rename this as anniversary in this month. Okay, so now for that anniversary in this month, we also need the helper column. We will not be adding helper column. Let's say we will be using the utilizing in the filter function. Okay, so alright, so equals to filter, what we are required is we need the employee names from the data table. Okay, and who has the anniversary this month. So we will say that based on date of admission. Okay, so for all those admissions which took place in January, in any year but in January. Okay, so because we are talking about anniversary in this month, so we will go to data table, date of admission. Okay, and should be equivalent to text today, comma, we need to extract month. Okay, and also we will add here text, and we will say that extract the month here from here should be equivalent to today date and give the month, close the bracket, and that's it. We got for all of those who have the anniversary this month. Okay, and let's say, so in this particular example you find out that there is no with using the dynamic array formulas, you don't need to add the additional helper columns. I mean, that can be very easy. And for the count, let's copy this logic, paste, and let's add count a function and close the bracket at the end. So there are 34 people who have anniversary this month, I mean in the January, right? And when we proceed to the February, it will automatically update. That's the advantage. Professionals who wants to learn descriptive analytics with the data sets, and I have covered the traditional approaches in different questions as well as the modern approaches as well. But concluding that if you have the latest version, that makes your work very easier and simpler. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Do share it with your colleagues or anyone who wants to learn the use of functions in analytics. Thank you.